Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're super excited to start exploring a new system at All Systems Go. The four of us are going to be diving into Blades in the Dark. Super exciting. And if you haven't heard about this game before, it is sort of a heist scoundrel game set in a dark turn of the century, late 1800s kind of setting. Very similar to the Dishonored games, if you've ever played those, or kind of has the same feel as like a Leverage or Ocean's 11, very heist oriented and action, kind of fast paced action. So we're really excited to break into it. My name's Sean, of course. I will be the GM for this game, and we'll see how well that goes. So bear with me. It's been a long time since I've taken the GM position. And with me are Logan, Sarah, and Abby, who you might have seen from our other streams. So we've got three lovely players, which I think will be a good size. Not too big, not too small, easy for me to handle, hopefully. I don't know, they're pretty wily though, so I might need help from the audience. As far as our plan for today goes, we're really just gonna dive into the system. I'll just talk about some of the really basic aspects of it, as well as making characters, setting up our gang, which is going to be super exciting, and then kind of choosing the starting direction, and then in 2 weeks' time we'll actually do our first heist, hopefully. And thank you so much for joining us, everyone. So first off, it's nice. This system's really simple in that all you need is a couple of D6. So it's a D6 system similar to Dungeon World, if you played that, or the Fate systems. Basically 1 through 3 is a fail on your roll, 4 and 5 is a mixed success, and then 6 is a success. And if you have more than one dice to roll for whatever you're rolling, 2 sixes is a critical, which gives you extra advantages, of course. And that's pretty much the most important part. Literally none of the dice really change from that. There's some fate rolls you can make for different cool stuff, but other than that, probably the most important thing to know is just 1 through 3 fail, and I get to make your lives terrible.
And it's the highest number on the die, not the
True.
total counts of the die. So it's a
Thank
little
you.
different than Burning Wheel, but same principle.
Yes. So say you were to roll a 5 and a 1, we only count 5, which is why more dice always better for the chances. But you could always roll snake eyes, so then you're shit out of luck. There is no critical fail, luckily, though I guess we could do that as a house rule if we really felt like punishing ourselves. But I think the game is punishing enough. It is pretty dark and gritty. So the idea at the base is that we are all situated in the grim city of Doskvol, which, like I mentioned, is kind of turn of the century. If you've ever played Dishonored, that's my biggest touchstone. I love the Dishonored games. Sorry, random plug right there. But that's what they're very similar to, especially in aesthetic, in my opinion. And so we're in this grim city of Doskvol, and the world has been shattered. The sun no longer shines. It is basically kind of a muddy twilight all day round. And the city is also surrounded by these electric walls, because when the sun was shattered and this great cataclysm happened, ghosts started to appear, and the spirits of the dead no longer pass on. So that's a pretty big deal, and it informs a lot of the game. This kind of contest between the mortal, the immortal, the material plane, the ghost, and how all these the citizens of Doskvol sort of deal with the consequences. Also, there's like a gajillion ways to say the name of the city, so I'll probably switch between them willy-nilly. Doskvol, whichever I see fit. I think that's enough background, really. We'll kind of get into it more probably when we talk about the characters. So let's just dive straight into character creation. There are 7 different sort of classes, you could say, in Blades in the Dark. They are the cutter, which is kind of your bully and your fighter. The hound, which is basically a hunter. Leech, which is sort of an alchemist or a mechanic. Lurk, which is your thief, rogue, kind of shadowy person. Slide, which is your conversationalist, your talker, your charmer. Spider, which is the planner and the thinker, which is kind of a little more specialty. That's a cool class because I feel like it's very specific to the heist sort of narrative flow and genre. And then lastly, the Whisper, which is sort of the magical ghost person who bridges the gap between the mortal and the immortal. So all of our players were super excited about this game. And they, of course, have been lovely, lovely preppers and have read the book and already done a lot of character creation. So we'll just kind of go through what people already have as we also play along with the book, and slowly discover and set up our characters. Anyone want to start by any chance? Moving in? I think Logan.
Do we want to start with characters or with the crew?
I want to start with characters.
Characters, okay.
Because we'll work on the crew after we do our cool little recruitment thing that I
Okay.
have planned.
I guess we can all do it at the same time.
Yeah. So I just start. I know you had a name in a class, and then we can talk about heritage a little bit, which is interesting.
Yes, my character creation summary. Choose a playbook. I have been chosen to be the spider by myself. So that is the devious mastermind class. It seems really interesting to play. The rules don't really specify between past and present as far as roles go, so you can use planning without having to actually plan. So it sounds real fun and less tedious than how you would imagine a super calculating character being to play. Yeah, Abby.
Do you have more
Abby, what have you
follow-up
got?
questions, Sean?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, could you just tell us the name and of your character? If you are
Yes.
settled on one, you don't have to.
I believe her name is going to be Violette Aranier, and
Very fancy.
she is a noble Arcosian?
Arcaros?
Arcaros.
Acaros.
Acaros. She is a
This is
noble
gonna be rough. There's a lot of weird words for us to try and pronounce.
The meaning she is from the city originally. She's from the ethnicity of people that trace their descendancy from the immortal emperor himself. So they established their position of power in society from that. She's not very important, though. She's just a fringe noble who happened to have a lucky marriage. Before that fell apart, as we will discover later.
Cool. Okay. Abby?
Yeah, I'll go. So I am going to play Helena Prescott, aka Sylph. She is going to start out as a lurk. Her background is Spirit Warden, but she had to leave that job, and she's Tycherosi.
Right. And let me move, actually, so we can look at the world map. So this is sort of the map of the Isles where all of this is set. Tycheros is not even on the map. They're considered sort of a strange, almost partially demonic group from the far north. She has a demonic trait, right?
Yeah, she has like black scales that have worked their way up her face, and then one of her eyes is turned like yellow and is creepy.
Mm-hmm.
So
like
she wears
scales, fish scales.
Bigger than that.
Bigger than that. Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like large sort of scaling happening.
Yes. I can't think of a real world example.
Does it look creepy?
Probably.
Okay.
Well, it's definitely unnatural.
Yeah,
so.
it's not good.
Most
Not
Um,
that that's
city's
really saying
unnatural,
much
yeah.
in Doskvol when there's ghosts out and about, just normal every day. All right. So, and Sarah?
So I am going to be playing Echo, and her real name is Serene Salind, and she is, to all appearance, Scovlin. Is that how we're going to say it? One of the
Scovlin,
Scovlin, one of the refugee factions that have kind of infiltrated Doskvol over the last few years. So that means she's like fairer featured. But she's going to be the slide. And so she will have her appearance change multiple times. And she's only recently arrived to the city in the last 6 months. Before that, she had been cavorting around the Dagger Islands up to
no good.
no good, of course.
One can only hope with the scoundrel that they're up to no good and they're good at getting up to no good.
Oh yes.
All right. Cool. So everyone's got a heritage. Yeah, so I think as Logan mentioned, Akaros is kind of the main isle, and Doskvol is at the top of that, and Doskvol will be the main. I mean, that's where everything will be happening, really, pretty much. But despite this like crazy cataclysm that messed everything up, there is still continued sort of trade routes and lines of communication between the various isles and stuff. And Dustfall's probably I think it's considered one of the like, maybe not, maybe richest. It's one of the more well protected and central important areas. So that's why it's kind of a melting pot of a lot of different cultures, which will be fun because we'll see that also in all the NPCs and the different factions. And your backgrounds are useful because they will help you, but also hurt you depending on who you are talking to or dealing with, especially the Scovlanders, because Scovlin was the last to join the sort of empire that currently controls everything. So they are the most recent refugees and also kind of they're in the most precarious position in that some of them still want independence, some of them are just tired, and then some of the Akarosi just don't like them at all. And then, of course, Abby's character is like a demon, which no one ever really likes, ever. So that'll be its own fun little thing. Well, can't wait to see those persuasion skills come in handy when half your face is black scales. And if you haven't noticed, one of the nice things about Blades in the Dark, if you don't like kind of building your own world, is that the creators, John Harper, and I think he had help from quite a few other people, but he was John Harper, Strauss Ekimovic, and Sean Nittner. I feel like I've heard Sean and John's name the most, probably. Those two, I mean, they spent a ton of effort on the world, and so there's like already so much history, so much world building that they did, that it's really easy because you can just dive in and take advantage of it right away. All right, okay, so we talked about our heritage, which is good, and then next it says choose a background. So I think everyone's done that as well. And Abby, you mentioned yours was
Spirit Warden.
law?
Yeah.
As a spirit warden.
Mm-hmm.
Which those are an important group within the city because they take care of the ghosts that have that either exist or they destroy the bodies in a special way so that the ghosts don't come back.
Yes.
Or the ghosts don't rise.
Every time somebody dies, a spirit seeker crow flies out from this cathedral to wherever the body died, and they like slowly circle down until they land on the body, and like the spirit wardens follow them with their creepy bronze masks.
Yeah.
And they steal the body, and then they like burn it so that the ghost goes away.
Basically.
I don't like them. I don't like it. They're creepy.
I mean, they perform an important service because otherwise there'd be ghosts everywhere, and the ghosts go crazy after a while. So that's the real problem. All right. And so what made her stop being a spirit warden?
So, this is what I came up with. But I don't know. So her eye has
why did she
changed
turn to a
color, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they wear like the creepy bronze masks. So like the scales, that was fine, and that got worse, and that was fine because nobody could see it under the mask. But it's like, well, now I have this creepy yellow glowing eye. I can't have people seeing this. And I think she got bored.
Oh, and she got bored.
Yeah.
Okay. But do you think it was easy to leave this? Do you think they were just like, yeah, go, be on your way? Like, does she still have friends there? Do they hate her? Like,
she probably just up and left. So
she probably just disappeared?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, the membership is anonymous, so none of the regular citizenry know who the spirit wardens are. And I don't think the spirit wardens necessarily know who all the other spirit wardens are.
So it's like, oh, that girl I talked to one time, she's gone now.
So she just up and left. Okay. And now has turned to a scoundrel's life?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, and then Sarah?
Yes.
Did you choose a background?
So I feel like in the last 6 months since she's been in Doskvol, she's been running basically just kind of like a con personality as an academic. Since she's been outside of Doskvol, she's been conning herself as someone who can teach outside about like the history of the islands. Does that count?
Here's what I would clarify with that. The background is what you did before you joined the crew.
Okay.
So I'd wonder, she's not an academic. She's not actually an academic.
She's not an academic.
So really she's underworld.
Really,
maybe.
she's underworld working
playing
with
a
the
con. So
she used to work with the corsairs of the Dagger Islands wrecking ships.
That might be military then.
Okay.
In a way, as a mercenary.
Yeah, like as a kind of subterfuge. You know, she wasn't wrecking them herself, but she was like convincing people to sail into dangerous parts of the ocean.
Oh.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, military is maybe closest.
Yeah, it has some of the examples are intelligence operative or training instructor, strategist. I don't know, maybe think about that a little bit. What was her... So she was born in Skov, whatever it is. In Scotland.
Skov. No,
she is a Skov. She was born in Scotland.
She's half Skov, half Akarosi.
Akarosi, yeah, that's what
but
I've been
she
saying.
is most apparently Skov,
More
and was
Skov. She was born
kicked out of Dusk. She had to leave Doskvol.
Okay, so she left Doskvol.
Stowed away on a Leviathan hunting ship.
Yeah.
Picked up by a pirate crew in the Dagger Islands.
Wow. She's already led a crazy life.
She's led a crazy life. I'm making all of this up as I go along.
I know. Wow. All right. Well, it's impressive to say the least. No wonder you're getting recruited to the gang. You have so many skills. I guess then I would say, think about what do you think was the most formative thing, either the most recent or the most formative thing she's done in connections she's made before she became a gang member. And while you think about that, we'll look at Logan for a second.
Okay.
And I guess just a quick rundown. I mean, we could always make more backgrounds too. It doesn't really matter. These are just arbitrary. Some of the listed ones are academic, labor, law, trade, military, noble, and underworld. But, I mean, the world is our oyster. So we can do whatever.
Underworld is our oyster.
The underworld is our
mushroom.
Dirty mushroom eel thing.
Yes. So I forgot to mention my alias is Duchess as well. That's what she goes by in the underworld. But she has noble as a background. Like I
Mhm.
said, she was a sort of a fringe noble, not really important. I think she might be like the last of her house. She doesn't really have living family. Um, Maybe she's like the youngest daughter and everyone else has died, but they weren't important, so no one cares. But she managed a pretty upshot marriage with a other noble man.
Mhm.
And I imagine she killed him also, by the way. Um,
Whew.
he was he
It's
was
cat's out of the bag.
yep, he was pretty rich. He was also pretty abusive, and they didn't get along. She didn't like him. He didn't really like her. It was just sort of like they were stuck together, and so she killed him without really anybody knowing. It was a mystery how he died, and she sort of took all the money because there was no one else left. She had a little tiff with his brother over who got it, um, and his brother is a blue cloak, which is one of the
Blue coat.
blue
Blue coat.
coat is a blue coat, so a police officer. And so he's been putting a thorn into her side and trying to investigate the death of his brother. And she does not like that, not one bit. But she's
Excellent.
spent nearly all of that money, so she is running out.
Yeah. So she's got no more money, and now she's turning to crime, like every good person of Doskvol does.
Yes.
We have aspirations, and they must be met, and they involve a lot of money. All right, Sarah, did you come up with maybe something? If not, no worries. We don't
I feel
have to
I'm
have it all
leaning
figured out.
more towards underworld rather than military.
Yeah, I think that
just
makes sense. Maybe con man or con woman, I guess,
Yeah,
would
because
be.
she was less into like the stratagem side of the
Mhm.
military of like, getting the ships in place, yada yada, and more about like the conning people into doing what she was told to tell people to do.
Right. So how did she? Why did she leave the pirates then? If that's where she was
For
last?
revenge.
For revenge. Well, this is where we
Re-
explore this
revenge on her
stuff.
family.
Revenge on her family. We have family issues. Don't worry, Abby, you're next. You better come up with a deep and rich backstory while we explore these. So,
Cheers.
Logan's character has murdered her husband, had a tiff with the brother, and lost all of her money. Sarah's character was a wandering con artist who got expelled from Doskvol for mysterious reasons and is now coming back for revenge. So what were the
Correct.
reasons for leaving in the first place?
Well, she was basically just, this can change. This is where we get into the like,
A little more mutable.
do we need like, do we
Do we
want
wanna
to
do this?
have this complication or do we not? So original idea was when I was like, let's go crazy. Um, this is a crazy place. Let's be crazy. I was like, okay, she's like half Scotland, half Accuracy, and her Accuracy family used her as like experiment, as a living experiment to do kind of like these whisper, which is like the ghostly spirit magic kind of living experimentation on. And they experiment on her because she's half blood and doesn't matter.
Right.
And she doesn't look Akarosi, so no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they assume experiment goes wrong. They assume she dies. They chuck her into the gutter. She's remotely alive, or like rolls down sewage onto a ship. I don't know.
She survives. She survives.
Somehow
That's the
she
takeaway.
survives. She's gone. She's back.
She's gone. She's back she's in the Dagger Islands. She's helping pirates, and now she's back for revenge. What a beautiful story. I love it already.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and we talked about those experiments like
potentially
having a sort of Jekyll and Hyde effect. potentially.
Yes, we did. But I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not married to that.
Yeah. Well,
That could
that's
be
still a good setup for I mean, either way, it's still a compelling reason to be back, and then we can figure out if we want to actually mechanically do the Jekyll and Hyde thing a
just
little bit later, if we'd like. Okay, so we have Want in Need of Coin from Logan. Sarah's in need of revenge. Oh, quick question. Was the original family noble or just middle?
I'm gonna say
Because I would think noble to be doing like these whisper experiments is not cheap. And usually the nobility are
yeah,
the
no,
only
I
ones
think
who
they're
could
old
like
blood. I think they're
hush
like
it.
old blood secret society noble. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going conspiracy theory.
I mean, there's secret societies out the wazoo here
I'm
in this
going
world. So.
Illuminati
Oh yeah.
of Doskvol.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Okay.
So we've got noble Illuminati trying to do arcane experiments on their daughter, but she's now back for revenge, and she needs probably some money to start off with before she can enact it effectively.
And I think intel. She's only been there. She has no connections. People think she's dead.
She's still
you know.
very new. Okay.
No one talked to her anyway because she was just like a lab rat.
Mm-hmm.
So she
Yeah.
doesn't have any context.
Okay. So Abby. So we talked a little bit about your spirit warden.
Mhm.
How did she get from Tycheros, right? That's it. Yes, Tycheros to Doskvol. Like, and then become picked as a spirit warden on top of that. That's a pretty big responsibility. I don't know. All right, we'll find out as she plays.
I mean, she
Do
probably.
you think she has family in Doskvol? Like, is she
No.
from a Tycheros
Well,
family?
yes.
There are Tycheros. Like, it's not unheard of. They're unusual, but they're not. They exist.
So maybe she's from a Tycherosi family in Doskvol. And she used to be like underworld like when she was a teen, and then her family was like, you need to get yourself like a good job.
Mm-hmm.
So then she like, I think the spirits and stuff interest her.
Yeah.
So she kind of went towards that. And
Right,
some of
right.
her already developed skills were applicable for that as well.
What if this is kind of in the same vein? In like Tycheros, she comes from. It seems like everyone's kind of coming from a noble or more well-to-do family. Maybe in Tycheros, she's from a more well-to-do family, but she's an insatiable scoundrel, and so they were like, we don't want one of our daughters to be a scoundrel," so they like almost sort of exile you to Doskvol to be a spirit warden because they think that will keep you in line.
Yeah.
And then
Joke's
you're like,
on them.
no. Tricks on them. You can just bail out of the spirit wardens whenever you want, apparently. And I want to steal things.
Yes.
I want to do crime.
That
Do you
sounds
like
good.
that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Or we can stick with you've got family in the
No,
city.
I just made that up right now. So
That's what this is all about.
I would rather be from Tycheros.
I think that sounds fun
with,
because
yeah.
there is the book talks a little bit about how it's common. There's different sort of embassies, diplomatic embassies, not so much for Tycheros, but from Severos and Eruvia. But it wouldn't be and they send sort of noble children to Doskvol for various reasons. So it wouldn't be unheard of necessarily maybe to send the Tycheros to send their own.
Sure.
All right. Okay, cool. So I think that covers our background, and that really helped flesh out the characters a lot, which is good. Next, it says your playbook begins with 3 action dots already placed. You get to add 4 more dots. Lucky you guys. I get infinite dots because I am in control of everything. All right, and no action rating may have more than 2 dots to start. Can't be too good at anything. They do suggest put 1 dot in any action you feel reflects your character's heritage. Then put 1 dot in any action you feel reflects your character's background. Assign 2 more wherever you please. Now, these dots, they kind of sound like, if you can't see, they sound totally random and weird. But when you roll, you are rolling for an action, and there's a discrete amount of actions. Now I'm trying to look for the major list to see if I can find it. Oh,
Yeah.
actions. Okay, here we go. So there's quite a few. Is it 12 total, I think?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So there are 12 actions in total, and these are basically anytime you do anything that would require, that I think is difficult enough that you need to roll for it, it will fall under one of these various things. There's not, I don't really want to go through each one because I don't think that's necessarily important right now, but you can think of them like skills from Burning Wheel, or what skills from even Dungeons and Dragons potentially. They're kind of the same idea. These are the things you'll be using to roll with, and they decide your dice pool. So every dot within an action type gives you 1 dice. So to start with, you can only have a max of 2, which means for that action, you can only roll 2 dice, which sounds not great. But it could be worse. So you'll have some where it's only 1 dice, and then you'll have some that are 0. And for zeros, you still roll 2 die, but this time you take the lesser instead of the higher, like we would normally. And when you roll 1 dice, you just straight up take what you get. It's important to note, this calls in kind of an important idea within the game, that say you want to take an action. Say Sarah, who is our slide and is good at talking to people, suddenly decides that she wants to tinker with something, and she wants to create a gadget, or she wants to work with she wants to make a bomb or something. So she can roll for tinker. Currently, let's just pretend it's at 0. I don't know where she's going to put it. So that's not great because she has to take the lowest. But she can do something special. All of our characters can do something where they push themselves. And so when you push yourself, you take an important resource called stress. You mark stress, and you give yourself an extra die. So in this case, since Sarah has 0 in Tinker, she gets 1 die, which is still better than none. And let's say if she had 1 die already, she could get 2, and for so on and so forth. So pushing yourself applies to everything, and one of its main uses is to let yourself get another die. So at any given moment, any of our scoundrels, the idea is any of our scoundrels are able to do something if they push themselves a lot. The consequence is they take stress, which we'll dive into more later because it is also another very important part of the game. Did you want to say something, Logan?
I mean, I was going to say, so like, the idea is we're proficient at everything, but we really excel where we put the dots. Because even if I have 0 dots in hunt, I still have a 25% chance to succeed at a hunt. And if I put even 1 dot, it's now 50% that I'm going to succeed. So
Right.
even 0 dots, you still have a very good chance of succeeding.
Mhm.
So
And we can aid
yeah.
each other, right?
Yeah.
too?
Yes. And so there's 2 other important things you can do. You can aid, as well as you can lead an action. So let's say y'all are all sneaking in somewhere, and unfortunately, Sarah and Logan's character aren't very good at sneaking. We can have Abby, whose character is good at sneaking because she's a shadow, lead the action, which follows some special dice rules, and basically she helps make sure everybody gets through it okay. But there are also some stress consequences for that. And then aiding, you can get, I think, 1 aid dice per action.
Yeah.
Only.
So if I wanted to aid Sarah, I would aid her and take 2 stress, and then she would get the aid.
Right, which is plus 1 die, I believe.
Correct.
And
you can aid.
assistance, whatever they
Yeah.
call it. Yeah.
So you can assist, and then you can push yourself, or accept a devil's bargain, which is a whole different
Oh,
thing.
true. Devil's Bargain, which I might not cover until it comes up in play.
Yeah,
'Cause
but you
there's no
can
need to
pretty
worry about it.
reliably always get +2 dice on any roll you do. So
If you try hard enough,
if you try hard
which is
enough.
pretty awesome. And yeah, assistance. The only thing with assistance is I believe you have to show. This is meant to be a fiction first game, so you have to show how you're assisting. If you're
Mhm.
not assisting, then there's no if you're just like, oh, I just want to assist, that doesn't count. I have to know how you're helping, and it has to make sense. Kind of along with that, there are setup actions you can do to help make things better, but once again, we don't really need to get into that. I would rather explore the mechanics once we're actually playing the game rather than getting too deep now. Okay, so dots. Where did y'all put your dots? Do we know, or do we want to talk it out?
I know.
Okay.
I
What
mean, we can
are
talk
you
it
good
out
at?
too. But so
I mean,
I've
we're gonna
taken.
be talking. I'm gonna make you talk about it.
Yeah, I've taken Attune for her
Okay.
background experience. So that's from the Spirit Warden time.
Okay.
And Sway for the Taikarosi from like the Noble Heritage.
Okay. Cool. So just one dot in each of those?
Yes. In addition, I've put a dot in Survey and Tinker.
Oh,
and then I
okay.
also start with 2 in Prowl and 1 in Finesse.
Okay, so let's talk about those a little bit. I guess we can go through them now since we're talking about them. Attune is doing ghost stuff basically in magic. So that's the skill you roll basically if you have to do anything involving arcane power. We mentioned Sway, so that's your basic kind of sort of charisma. Like, it's a little confusing because there's Sway and Consort, which will be a little difficult to figure out. But Sway tends to have to do with persuading someone, and usually persuading them when you have some sort of leverage on them. Tinker, we talked about that. That's like devices and mechanisms. It's also like alchemical creations. So there's some really cool stuff you can do with like building potions and all sorts of cool things. So that's a fun one. Survey is observing the situation. That's your basic kind of perception, your big picture. We talked about Prowl, you automatically get as a shadow, which is good. That's basically stealth. And there was one more. Finesse?
She's a lurk, not a shadow.
A lurk.
I will also be a shadow, though.
She's a
Like,
lurking shadow.
all those names, I can't keep track of them. And then finesse, right? That was one of the ones
Yes.
you took too. Finesse, that is anything that requires dexterous kind of handwork or misdirection. And that's a very useful one to have too. That's good. Okay, I like that. Kind of a wide net, which I think
Yeah.
is a good idea.
All of my saves will have 2 dice in them, too, which is nice.
That's good. Yeah. So we can talk about that more
Yeah.
later, but it is good. It can be very useful to have a wide net.
Yeah, the game rewards you for having a broad.
Trying to be a little broad and then doing all the different things you need to do to get extra dice in.
Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
I can.
Ooh.
So, as a spider, I start with 2 in consort and 1 in study. For my heritage as an Akaros person, we're very the book describes us as a wide group of people who are sort of falling under this central net of Akaros. So I took survey because that is sort of looking at situations, looking at people, and just as someone of this heritage, I interact with a bunch of people, so I can get a good read on different types of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then for my noble background, I also took sway, just court intrigue, being proficient in that. And then for my next 2 that I just get to assign, I doubled up on study to get 2. And then I can't decide the last one either between finesse or prowl. The idea is she has like her weapon is a pocket pistol, so it has like a range of a foot and a half for like close combat,
Right.
and that's really all she does. So I don't know
I think that's more skirmish if you're going to use that, though.
Um,
Right?
It depends. Prowl can have to do with
Ambushing.
backstabbing and
Yeah.
ambushing, as well as hunt can. But hunt usually I think of following.
Yeah.
I could see. I mean, finesse can be subtle misdirection, but it's usually more in the open potentially.
Okay.
I could see. I mean, prowl is sneaking, like I said, in general, but as well as surprise.
I
I think
think
either or. What about? I know command. Like I was thinking, kind of from her personality as being a noble.
she doesn't really command people. She's
Okay.
pretty set back. I think I'm gonna put it into prowl just because she does it like she doesn't do things out in the open if she is gonna use violent. It's very concealed.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So I think some new ones that were in there are consort. So that is specifically socializing with friends and contacts. So people you already know or talking to people in order to make them friends or contacts. So it's not so much as trying to I mean, you're not really trying to convince anyone of anything necessarily. You're having friendly conversation and you're hoping they let you know a few secrets along the way. So it's a subtle. I mean, consort and sway are meant to sort of overlap slightly, but they do have differences. And then study, which is always good for researching anything, as well as closely analyzing something. So it's not just book studying; it is also in the field. All right, Sarah.
Okay. um, so I automatically get 2 in sway and 1 in consort. And that's totally happy with that. And then for the rest of my 4, I'm kind of flexible. I feel like um finesse definitely would be one, um just from like her skill as a con woman,
Yeah.
convincing people and like having to be um like having a light touch, I guess, on what she does, and using different, like tools and costumes and accents or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, or even just like being light, or like conniving kind of in relationships, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I also liked that wreck. I don't know, I really like the idea that she's just like on one side very very like light touch, and then like there's just a line that crosses, and then all of a sudden it's like I break things. And that could be
Yeah.
her like history of wrecking ships, or like going for the drive. We want to be literal about it. And wrecking is about just like it's not, it can be used
Destroying.
in combat, but it's also just like about like breaking down a door.
I was gonna
um
say, do you think she learned any skirmish when with the pirates or anything?
yeah, so that was kind of like my other 2, where I was like, we could say study or skirmish. I mean, those I feel like um were the
Yeah.
2. Not some, I didn't feel like hunt, I didn't feel like survey, and I feel like prowl, she doesn't rely on like being hidden. She just
Mm-hmm.
relies on being seen in a convincing way. So she's not trying to necessarily like be stealthy. She's just always blending in the right way, or like using the right relationships to get into the situations, in and out of situations she wants to
Mm-hmm.
be in. Um
Yeah, I was thinking study might be interesting because like studying people to then
Personality. Yeah.
imitate them.
Yeah. So
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 you
like
automatically get
study.
sway and consort, right?
Yeah. So I have 2 in sway, 1 in consort, and then I was thinking 1 in rec or skirmish, 1 in finesse, and 1 in study.
Well, you get 4, so you could get 1 in each
Yeah. So
if
I
you
could do
wanted,
1 in
or do you want to double
each.
up?
or I could double up and consort, but I don't really know the difference between consort and sway for
So the
me.
book puts it pretty concisely of when you sway, you don't care about the other person. When you consort,
Okay.
you do care about the other person.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
Do I care
consort
about
is
other
pretty
people?
specifically with friends and contacts you already know, or you do it in order to make a friend or contact that you
Mm.
don't have. Sway is just, here's this person, I want them to do something, which in some ways also goes with command, but command is just telling them.
Yeah, no,
Sway,
she
you
at least
try to,
appears to be convincing.
right, you're manipulating. Sway is
Yeah.
manipulation. Consort, you're not manipulating. You're saying, we're good friends. Why don't you help me out with this? Like, you know.
I think I'm gonna
And
go the jack of all trades route, and I'm
yeah,
gonna.
I kind of like that. I think rec is fun just to have something unusual in there. You never know when you might need rec for something.
Mhm.
Um, and we can, I have some ideas about how to do that Jekyll and Hyde thing, and I think we can work with that even better if
Okay.
maybe you have a point in it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's
Yeah.
better to, like I said, spread it out because you'll get XP, you'll get to level stuff up and gain more
And I
dots.
figured I'm the character that can get away with it the most. Like I can make up, like if I make a big scene or I make a skirmish, like maybe my ability to like have a disguise or like
Right.
kind of Jedi mind trick the masses, or whatever it is. Um,
Yeah,
so
I think
yeah,
that sounds good if you're game.
I'm game. I am game.
Okay. So, let's see where we at. So we've assigned 4 action dots. Okay, next is choose a special ability. So each of your playbooks, each of your classes has a set of special abilities that you can get. And you have a lot to choose from. They're all pretty awesome. So good luck. I have no advice. Except for you, Sarah. We could, if you want to do the Jekyll and Hyde thing and everybody else thinks it's fun, we could make one option would be to make a special ability for you that would, your starting special ability would be this like rage berserk mode as your first one, which one of the other playbooks might have. I haven't looked too closely. Like the cutters might have something like that already, so we can just take it from them.
I
Otherwise,
did
there's
peek
some.
through.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, they have an ability called Savage, which
Mm-hmm.
is when you unleash physical violence, it's especially frightening. Um, and you command a frightened target, you take 1d.
Yeah, but you're not really commanding with.
I think
Because
right
we
above
talked.
that, not to be trifled with, would fit really well.
Mm,
Oh yeah,
that's
perform
true.
a feat of physical force that verges on the superhuman. Engage a small gang. Yeah. Oh yeah. Not to be. I mean, I don't like the name, but
Not to
that
be trifled
does
with.
the effect. The mechanical effect sounds more close to what you want.
Yeah.
So if you'd like, you could take that to start, or I mean, you can get it later. The cool thing is, all the classes can just pull from any playbook pretty much at any time. I don't think there's any limit on the amount of skills you can take or abilities you can take from other classes. They're just called veteran advances for some reason, but there's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no limit on the amount of veteran advances you can take. One important thing with the playbooks they've chosen, though, is that it affects how they earn XP in the game. So, for instance, the cutter, who we were just talking about, when you play a cutter, you earn XP when you address a challenge with violence or coercion. So that is one of the ways they earn XP at the end of each session. Spiders, for instance, earn XP when they address a challenge with calculation or conspiracy. And I think slides are trying to use deception or influence. And then lurks are trying to use stealth or evasion. So those help to kind of like direct the players as they're making choices, because you always want more XP. Abby or Logan, did y'all have starters already picked out, or did you need help thinking?
I am going to take the Devil's Footsteps, which is another when you push yourself one. It lets me either perform a feat of athletics that verges on the superhuman or maneuver to confuse my enemies so they mistakenly attack each other instead of me.
That's very useful.
It is very useful.
Form a feat of athletic. Okay. And the nice ones about these is you still get the automatic +1d,
Yep.
+1 dice from pushing yourself. On top of all those fun bonuses.
Also, it gets you closer to that sweet, sweet trauma.
That sweet, sweet trauma. You take enough stress, you get trauma. And looks like Abby has a hankering for trauma. So don't know why. It's not really a good thing, but can never have enough. All right.
I feel like 1 trauma would be good.
Oh, I think y'all will definitely get at least 1 trauma at some point. And Logan, did you have one in mind?
Yes, I think I want to take foresight, which is sort of like being a calculating person. I describe how I prepared something in the past to sort of build up that narrative, but I can assist a teammate twice per score without paying for stress,
That is very good.
which I like. But I also like weaving the web, which is a +1 to consort when I gather information, and I also get a +1 on an engagement roll
That's
for that operation.
really good.
It's really
Engagement
good,
roll.
but I think foresight sounds funner. Weaving the web sounds
Foresight
better.
does sound funner. Weaving
So
the
I think
web's
I
a little
might just
metagaming.
I might just take weave the web like as number 2 or down the line or something.
Yeah. I think once you're I mean, I'm gonna try and start y'all off relatively easy for this game. But once we get even higher up, weaving the web will probably become very, very useful. But yeah, I think I think that's perfect.
Yes, and it is the top. They put them in order, and they say if you can't decide, choose the first one. It's put there for a reason.
Yeah.
So I chose first because
Which is a good one.
put there for a reason.
So, Sarah, do you think you want to take that cutter one, or do you want to? We can talk after the session about building one for you, maybe.
I think I'm gonna wait on the cutter one just because I feel like that's not an ability that she wants to demonstrate right off the bat. So like that could be something that is built in late. Like it's
Yeah.
not something she relies on. She tries not to
True.
rely on. It
The
just
idea
kind
is
of like
that
has yeah, it's just like in desperate times, or in certain situations, she kind
it
of
happens.
it
Yeah,
happens. She
it's
might
not a
get
fallback.
yes, it's not a
Mm.
fallback. It's like
Okay.
oh shoot, this happened again.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that and maybe come up with something else to maybe represent it. Then do you have another ability? Maybe
So
you want to take?
I have been debating between cloak and dagger and subterfuge. Cloak and dagger when I use a disguise or some other form of covert misdirection, which really could be anything.
True.
You get 1d to rolls to confuse or deflect suspicion. When you throw off your disguise, haha, the resulting surprise gives you the initiative in the situation. So I just get to like
That's
Phantom of the
useful.
Opera.
So when it goes wrong, everyone is so surprised that they're like, I don't even know what to do.
I don't know. I just like the drama of that.
That's
Or
pretty fun.
subterfuge is it was me all along, the echo. Or subterfuge is you may expend your special armor to resist a consequence from suspicion or persuasion, or to push yourself for subterfuge.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like you get a free pass.
Yeah, yeah. So that kind of gets into the armor stuff, which is a little complicated.
Yeah.
If you use this to get one of your benefits, oh, but you don't take the stress. Yeah, that's it. Okay, but it has to be you're pushing yourself in relation to subterfuge. How?
Or resisting a consequence, I guess, that I've already incurred.
Yes, yeah. So you roll bad, I give you a consequence from doing something that is related to suspicion or persuasion, and then you resist it, which costs stress, just like pushing yourself, and this lets you avoid stress.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's a good question. It depends. Do you think she would be? I mean, the +1D is good, but I'm really interested in the when you throw off the disguise. So do you think she unmasks herself frequently? Like goes into disguise and is
I
like,
don't
it
know.
was me.
I don't have to use that half
You don't have
necessarily.
to. True, true. But then you're missing out on half the ability.
I mean, I
So.
guess it would be fun if it was like, she's a woman. You know.
The beard. Where did the beard go?
I don't know.
Um,
Let's maybe say subterfuge is easier in the beginning, and then if I decide
I think Cloak and Dagger is going to be more fun though. Is the
it
only
is going to be
thing.
more fun. I mean, it will involve me having disguises and accents and different genders, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys have
Well,
any ideas? Logan,
yeah.
Abby? Spider?
Logan, you're muted.
He does this every time, folks, and he's never learned his lesson.
I
thought you were just sitting in judgmental silence.
I thought you were just talking to thin air for a moment.
I like them both. I think that Cloak and Dagger would be funner, and you can use it more. Because Subterfuge, you can use it once per score. Whereas,
That's true. That's a good
Oh,
point.
does the special armor only have one tick?
yes. And it
Mm.
goes away, and you clear it when you pick your load for the next score. So it's
Mhm.
only ever once per score.
Right, right.
Fair
So
point.
a
It is
little less
number
use out of
2
that
on the
armor.
list, everyone.
Right, right.
So
So it's considered a little bit more
useful.
more useful in general. Yeah, I think let's tentatively put Cloak and Dagger, and then we're also going to talk about maybe trying to bring in your Jekyll and Hyde thing, which might
Maybe that's my reveal.
end up taking the place of whatever your initial ability is. So
Yeah, we'll say tentative Cloak and Dagger.
tentative Cloak and Dagger, because it does sound really fun.
Haha, I was violent all along.
It was me.
That's pretty
Zorro.
fun. Maybe we can just
I'll work on my
tweak it.
catchphrase.
And see what happens.
Yay!
Okay. Let's see. So next up is you get one close friend and one rival. So you have to pick an NPC from your playbook, and you get to choose if they are a close friend or rival, and then I want to know how they are a close friend or rival, what happened, kind of the history behind that. And I've talked to Logan and Abby about theirs a little bit. If Logan, maybe you want to start. You kind of already have yours. We talked about a little. Is the brother
Yeah.
one of the rivals? Okay.
Make sure I'm not muted. Yes. The brother is Jaren. He's a blue coat archivist. And so he is sort of scouring the records of the crime scene as they are coming across his desk, sort of trying to piece together this information. And I think like Logan thinks that all the information he needs to like get like not a warrant, but like to make a pretty convincing argument is already gathered. Like maybe he needs a few more pieces outside, but he's just trying to collect it from wherever records it is, trying to build a case. And I don't
So you're on a time limit. So there's almost like a
Yeah.
clock against
Sort
you
of.
already.
I don't think he knows that. I think
Yeah.
he's like
He's on
maybe
the edge.
he's pieced together two of them. So like I think the clock would be like Jaren realizes he can build a case.
So almost like a 2-part clock.
Yeah.
Because that could be fun. That could light a fire under your butt.
Yeah. So he's definitely also we hate each other like 100% because he just assumed he was getting all the money, but I somehow got the money out from under his feet, and he did not like that one bit. Also, he just he believes. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if he knows that I killed his brother, or if he just has like an inkling, or if that'll be what starts that first clock of him coming across some information and he puts
What
two and
if
two
his
together.
ghost, your brother's ghost, is, or not the brother's ghost, but
Oh,
your husband's ghost? There's always ghosts. Ghosts are always an option in this world.
yes.
That's the fun part. Things
I'm
that
gonna
die
say
are not necessarily dead.
I'm gonna say he's investigating his brother's death. He doesn't know that it was me, but he's gonna figure it out.
Just very suspicious, and he hates you, so he wants to pin it on.
I don't even think he's trying to pin it on me. He's just like, wow, this was never solved. What is this mystery? Let me go figure it out, and he'll figure out that it was me eventually.
Okay.
So that is my, what is it? It's my
You're down.
rival.
Your
yes.
rival.
My up is Jenna. She's a servant girl. She was, I think she was with some noble family, and he was very like abusive towards her, like just treated her like trash, maybe like hit her a couple times, and I saw it maybe once, and like using my little devious web like got him something. He went away, and she got like, I don't know if she's like a slave or whatever, but she was somehow transferred to another family that treated her much better, and I like helped her with that. So she's sort of indebted to me. Not
Okay.
like, not she doesn't. I don't like can't
She
tell her to
feels
do
like
anything.
she owes you almost.
Yeah, but I think I got her put in with one of the more talkative nobles, so now she like helps me with information, and that's sort of like repaying the debt. So nothing like
Right.
super serious, but like maybe I'll
She's an
meet with her.
informant.
Yeah, pretty much an informant.
All right.
And I
Sounds
guess
good.
so the other ones I know, but I just don't have an up or and a down relationship with them. And so it's Salia, just another information broker in the underworld.
August?
August, a master architect, who maybe I've gone to for plans for a building in the past, trying to spy or something. I don't know. And then Riven, who is a chemist. And I have a fun idea with him, but I think that has to do with I used him in the murder of my husband. Like he helped me get the supplies.
So he's knows potentially about, or he could be used for information against you.
Correct.
Okay. Cool. Abby, did you have some picked out already?
Yeah. So my down, I've locked in as Frake the locksmith.
Right.
And Frake and I are rivals just because he's frustrated with me because I keep picking his locks.
Simple.
And he just wants to make a better lock.
So does he know it's you specifically? Or do you leave like a tell, maybe?
Yeah, that's good.
Do you leave a scale?
No, that would hurt.
I think you should, like maybe you scratch a little tell onto the lock every time you pick it. And so that's how he knows.
He's like, no!
These people are so angry, they like go back to them. They're like, you sold us a lock that you said no one could pick. And then they show it to him and he's like, that symbol again. So I think I want you to think of maybe a symbol or something that you can use as a tell. Or you don't have to scratch something, but I think that would be cool.
I'll scratch like a feather into it, because that would be easy to scratch,
Yeah. So you've kind of got a feather sort of marker. Okay, so that's why Frake hates this mysterious feather person.
Yeah. And then my positive relationship is Rosalind Kellis, who's a noble. And I think I was just thinking about this. If I came from Tycheros and as a noble, I think she also did, but then she stuck with it. So she actually has some like sway with the government now and is an important person. Whereas I was like, no, I'm going to the underworld. But she and I have stayed close. And I think might be lovers.
Maybe y'all just have a flirty relationship going on.
Relationship, yeah.
So did you know her from Tycheros, you think? Okay, so you knew her all the way from before
you kind
of got exiled
But she's been
And
a better person than me.
she maybe came of her own volition and is attached to a powerful Taikarosi, or at least semi-powerful Taikarosi noble position.
Yeah.
Okay, we can work with that.
Cool.
That sounds good. And potential lover, which always makes things more
Oh yeah,
complicated
so fun.
and more fun. And who else do you know? Let's see. We have Telda.
Telda is a beggar. Dharma is a blue coat who I probably know from my law days. And then Petra is a city clerk.
Interesting. So we have a beggar, a blue coat, and a clerk.
Yeah.
All right. Sarah, do you need help deciding, or do you know which you'd like?
Well, I definitely have for the positive one. I stuck with the recommended person on my character sheet and went with Clyra, a tavern owner.
Yeah, always useful.
And I think that is because she rents a room above the tavern, and so that's kind of how she gets her foothold of intel, and like is the source, and maybe she like helps out at nights and kind of like either helps out at the taps or like does any work that needs to be done, and kind of like keeps her ear to the ground and figures out the lay of the land. And then I figured that she got into Doskvol very disreputably. And Harker, the jailbird, also snuck in with her, kind of like in this gaggle of infiltrators, and Harker actually took the fall for her. She kind of like pushed Harker into the searchlights. And so Harker's in jail yet again. Upon entering Doskvol and holding a grudge.
Okay.
And then I think if her family knew she was alive.
Yeah. In a general sense, I think.
In a general sense.
Right, of course. But this is, I mean, you're not. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know a lot of people.
I get what you mean, but these are.
Yeah, these are actual
more
people.
Specific, non-family. Okay, so and Clyra, how are we saying that?
Clyra. I said Clyra.
So, well, they're your friends, so Clyra. So another source of kind of rumors and gossip, but more like down to earth, more like the working class, sort of.
And she,
the regular citizenry, rather than
plays
our
up
noble
the Scoblin.
rumors.
Yeah, she plays up the Scoblin angle, I think, around Clyra.
Do you think Clyra is Scoblin?
Sure, let's make her Scoblin.
Okay.
She's a hardworking Scoblin. She's been there longer.
Longer than the refugees, maybe?
Yeah.
She's an older, a well-established Scoblin tavern owner. Okay.
Hence why she has a tavern.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't come by those every day. All right, and we have Harker, who took the fall for a group of infiltrators. All right. Cool. So that is those. Keep having to flip back and forth. Oh, best part. So choose your vice. All right. So all of our scoundrels are in the thrall of some kind of vice, which helps them deal with the stress they accrue from all of their difficult daily activities. So we mentioned kind of the stress mechanic a bit with pushing yourself and all that. And if you get enough stress, you get trauma. And eventually, if you get a certain amount of trauma, your character is taken out of the game and has to retire from the scoundrel's life. So the way to mitigate stress is to indulge in your vice, which can be done through various vice purveyors within the city of Doskvol. And I believe there's kind of a set, there's set categories of vice. There's faith, gambling, luxury, obligation, pleasure, stupor, and weird. And yeah. Do we all have vices? We'll start at the tippy top. Login. Are you muted again?
I was, but I hadn't started talking. I think that her luxury, she both. No, I think right now she's putting on this display of still having wealth, even though she has like a terrible monetary policy, so she's almost broke. But she has to like keep up her stance amongst the nobles, so she dresses very finely. She goes to very expensive plays, like all of these things that are very expensive. Um, and I think right now she like does so consciously, but as it progresses and as she gets trauma and all of this, it becomes like she has to do this. Like she becomes addicted to nice things and she can't not have them. But right now it's very like she tries to do it purposefully before it consumes her. So
Right.
that'll be fun.
Okay, so luxury is her vice then.
Yes.
And does she have a specific purveyor that she currently
Yes.
visits for this pleasure?
I think
This luxury?
so. I don't remember if this was on the recommended list or if I just made it up.
We can make someone up too. It doesn't matter. The
Um,
vice purveyors that are listed are Singer, who has a bathhouse, Harvel Brogan, who runs a club, Traven Smoke Shop, Dunridge and Sons Fine Fabrics and Tailoring, if you're into fashion,
It's
Chef
the last one.
Roselle, and then Maestro Hellerin,
So
who
the theater, and I think
the
it's like
theater.
they put on nice plays at the theater, but it's also where you can just like mingle amongst your other noble selves. It's like you make a presentation at the
Yes,
theaters.
the opera is as much about seeing the opera as being seen at the
At the opera, and it is. It's like I think there are different tiers. It's like the play will be going on, and like your ticket. If you have like a lowly ticket, you see like the first act, and then like they kick everybody out, and like the next most expensive ticket comes in. And so it's like, oh, you were seen during the second act? Like, oh my goodness, you were seen during the finale? Like, the play is totally an afterthought here. It's like, and if you want to meet a noble, you have to like buy one of these tickets for like the second act if you know that somebody else is going to be at the second act.
Right. If you want to impress someone, you need to at least be in the same act as them, if not seen later than them.
Correct.
Interesting. Okay, I like this little piece of world building. Who cares if you've seen the whole play?
Oh yeah, like they might even put on the same play like every night, 3 that they go through. Like the play is a total afterthought.
Right. Interesting. Okay, I like that a lot. Abby?
Okay, I just finished, so good time.
We've just decided.
So my vice generally is weird.
Okay.
But I worship a forgotten god. He who walks in darkness. And
Okay.
Arana the Blessed helps me with that.
Arana the Blessed.
And
is a cultist of a forgotten god.
Yes.
Barge moored in the night market.
We have a forgotten god barge, so it's cool. And the way
the party barge.
The cult practices are to acquire ghosts of enemies of the order or mystics or prophets or like anybody important that might be able to, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so the cult wants to acquire ghosts.
Yeah.
Basically. Interesting. Okay. And so we know that your character has a strange obsession with the unworldly.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to we'll figure that out. I'm not exactly weird is not your typical vice, so you know it's easy to think of drugs and luxury, but weird will be a fun one to figure out as we go through.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Okay, and then Sarah.
All right, so my girl's used to being on the open seas, and she's now stuck in this I don't know, crammed up city and in between lightning
maze?
walls. Yeah, this rat maze. And
I
she's
know
here
it-
for a purpose.
I know a barge you could come hang out on if you want.
I've got a
You want to
pretty
go to the
cool
party barge?
Why don't you just go to the opera?
Yeah, she's all about the adrenaline rush.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that translates to gambling. I'm not sure if that's like boxing or the fighting pits, but I think she's like hardcore.
Gambling.
Just like, yeah, she's into like the physical adrenaline. Also,
I could see
pirates.
boxing.
Yeah, yeah.
Boxing
I don't think.
or the fighting pits.
Yeah,
Boxing almost sounds too refined.
I know. I'm feeling like the fighting pits. She can shark people later on when she gets good at being a beast.
Yeah, she kind of she gambles on them, but she also kind of tries to stack odds maybe.
She's always looking for a good tip on the,
Right.
on
Who's the
the
underdog?
fight.
Who's the favorite?
For now, though, mainly she gambles on other people and just like lives vicariously through their adrenaline and pain.
Mm-hmm. So, and it is important to make note of who you choose as your initial purveyor because you can lose access to your vice purveyor and
Okay.
have to switch it up.
So I
need to look
picked
into
Sergeant Vilk.
Sergeant Velk. Yeah. So write that down in your character sheets and the location because that's important too. There's Doskvol has a bunch of different districts that are really well fleshed out and will be very fun to explore. And last but not least, it says record your name, alias, and look. So we already talked about names, and I think everybody gave an alias too. So if you want to, we talked about looks a little bit. I don't know. Is there anything like maybe 2 or 3 descriptors that you think people immediately pick up on with your characters? Like Abby, we talked about your sort of scales, but
Mhm.
is your thing maybe cloak because she wants to hide that? Like, is she always swathed in fabric
I think
or
she
wears a
has
mask?
like a light like face scarf thing that she
Mhm.
wears, but it's very like light and airy.
Like a flowing silk scarf sort of
Yeah,
around the
and
face.
then she has like a decorative eye patch that she wears over her
Decorative
eye.
eye
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
it's like half of a masquerade mask. Like it's very
Oh. Uh-huh. That's
Phantom
cool.
of the Opera. She
I
can do
really
a
like
reveal.
that.
She can do
Yeah.
a reveal with me.
Let's go to the opera.
And we're going to the opera. Yeah. Oh man, we have to have an opera heist now.
We
Can't
so
wait.
have to have an
That'd
opera
be
heist.
so much fun. Okay.
And she's
So
pale and blonde, which is
pale
weird.
and blonde. Okay.
And
Yeah,
she
that is a
usually
little unusual.
yeah. And she's usually wears pretty lightweight stuff. Like yeah, very
It's unusual for Akarosi.
yeah.
Not for Logan, who's muted again and is gesturing at his face expressively because he is blonde and pale. We get the picture, but it's not all about you, Logan. Okay. Do you think, just real quick, like, is she tall? Is she thin? Is she small? Is she hunched over? Like, kind of what's the general silhouette, maybe, of the character? Average?
Thin and average.
She just blends in. Yeah, thin and average. So she probably blends in besides the weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
But from far away, you wouldn't notice necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay. Logan's in timeout because he muted himself again. So Sarah, you're up.
Okay, so I think because she looks Scotland, she's also blonde.
Blonde.
Or like
Red hair?
lighter
Or
colored
strawberry?
hair. Or strawberry? Strawberry blonde? I feel like her hair changes color. I mean, depending on the need of the
Right. It probably
disguise.
maybe blonde then, but it's almost unkempt because it's dyed so many times. Like it
Yeah, like it's
damages
been
the hair a little
bleached.
bit.
And I would say she's probably, I think she's a little taller than most people, but not like unusually so. And like carries herself well, has like a depending on the need,
A
but like
confident
has
sort of
kind of
gait.
has a confidence about her.
Yeah.
Like she, unless she's playing a shrinking violet, she's not going to be a shrinking violet. And what were the other questions?
That covered most of it. Do you think there's any specific, like, when she's just herself and
Mm,
not playing a character, is there like a
mm,
specific maybe clothing, or like we talked, maybe blonde is her natural hair color, but is
mhm.
there anything else distinctive maybe that she like carry on herself?
The dagger of revenge.
The dagger, she could. The dagger isles are known for a specific type of blade that is unique to them. Does she
Yeah,
carry
yeah.
normally carry a dagger?
She's got a vengeful dagger
A vengeful dagger. Okay, cool.
that's going into a family member's heart.
Exactly. She'll only use it. She's saving it to
She's
be
saving it.
used only
It
to
has like
kill her
an
family members.
inscription on it,
Mm-hmm.
for you, love.
Boy.
Yeah, I would say
All
the
right.
dagger is probably the one connector.
More distinctive thing. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. Logan. Wow, we have a picture. Picture perfect. Credit to the artist.
Yeah, whoever that was. So
So
that was
bad.
sort of like what her face looks like, and this is sort of what she looks like. Very. If you imagine Lynn from Avatar, Korra hairstyle, so like gray. She's pretty. You can tell like she was beautiful in her youth. She's not old, but like she's had a hard life. So like her face is a little worn, but she's still beautiful and she puts on some nice makeup. But she has it's like darker gray hair, but then she has like one section like here that's white on either side.
Mm-hmm.
Um and she is always wearing like a nice fitted dress with like mink fur, and like she has a one um nice emerald jewel that she always wears.
An emerald
Maybe
necklace,
it's
or
like yeah, it's like maybe the last thing like that her family owned before
like an
they like
emerald choker.
yeah, before they went bankrupt. And so
Mm-hmm.
it was either like her family
Treasures
goes
it.
bankrupt. Not really. She just like this looks nice. And
Well, yeah, it makes her look good and wealthy, so
mhm.
it is in its own way a treasure. Not for sentimental reasons though, particularly.
Maybe like she won't
Maybe.
admit it, but
Mm-hmm. Does she very regal, like very
yeah,
tall,
just
like
look at this person from the book. This is who I'm playing, okay? This is what she is.
he fell in love with that image. So
Look at I just love her little what she's doing with her hand. It's like, oh my god, she
she's
could
got the cool little
I mean, it's like
pointed fingertip
Morticia
yeah.
sort
meets
of
like
things.
She
it's a good
definitely has
image.
those whatever those little things are. She has those
I have
just
no
because
idea what those are
The
called.
nail thingies.
The like
Yeah.
metal
They're like you
nails
can put them
almost.
on your fingers and they're
Yeah, they're
Yes.
like metal
they're
nails.
very
They're like
cool.
plectrums almost. Like when you play
Yes.
an instrument and you put the fake nails on.
Mm-hmm. Same
We'll
idea.
find a
Same
word for that.
idea.
Mhm.
I know there's a word for it. We just don't know it yet. Okay. So that is pretty much everything important for the characters, and the rest we'll discover as we play through. I think we'll take a 10-minute break real fast, and then we were hoping to do a quick little sort of like getting the group together. How does everyone connect? Who finds who? What's the goal? What's drawing everyone in to come together as a gang? And then we'll actually make the gang, and that's probably where we'll end off. So thanks so much for staying with us so far, and we'll see you in a little bit.
And we're back.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again. Quick reminder, if you've forgotten over that 10 and some change break, we're playing Blades in the Dark. Or at least we're setting up to play Blades in the Dark, which is close to the same thing, right? Half the fun is... Don't shake your head at me, Abby. I'm having fun. Making y'all think about your characters and stuff. Okay, so unfortunately, we're gonna cut the little meeting all the characters and getting them together for a crew and maybe shoving it into next session because things took a little longer than we thought. And we're going to dive straight into creating the crew, which is pretty important, just as important as making a character. So, for crew creation, there are a couple different ones we can choose from, but we've pretty much already chosen, unless anyone is dissenting. We decided on shadows previously, and so shadows are thieves and spies. They execute burglaries, espionage, robberies, and sabotage. So they're the more covert kind of typical heist stuff that I think most people think about. They're sort of the classic. Can't go wrong with that. And of course, you can do all sorts of other stuff. There's no limit on the types of things you can do. The crew type kind of just affects some special abilities, as well as, once again, how you make experience, as well as turf, which we will get into. So, we have chosen a crew type. Your crew begins with 2 coin. Lucky you, you have a little bit of residual money. It's going to disappear very quickly. You are tier 0 and you have a strong hold and 0 rep. So that's a lot of vocab unique to Blades in the Dark. So tier, every faction, which is basically every gang, even though some of them aren't gangs in the typical sense. Some of them are like merchant groups, some of them are cults, and so on and so forth. Every group, every faction within Blades in the Dark has a tier. Tier 0 being the lowest, the weakest. So you are basically at the bottom of the rung, which is where you start out, and then you will hope to climb your way forward slowly but surely through your escapades and through gaining both coin and rep. So rep being reputation. So you gain a reputation within the city, and it is its own sort of monetary resource in a way. And you'll use that to gain tier, which makes you just better in general and makes it easier for you to take on other gangs that are higher tier as well. And we'll maybe get into hold a little bit later into the crew building. So you get to choose an initial reputation and lair for your crew. So you've just formed, you have chosen a place to set yourself. What do you think the initial reputation of your group would be among the kind of underworld? So what do other people think when they think of you three and kind of your deeds?
I feel like I'm leaning towards ambitious or subtle.
But hear me out. Strange.
Oh my god, how did I know?
No, I agree. Those two that you just said are actually the I agree on those. I think subtle will be hard. Subtle's hard to bolster. How do you bolster subtle? Subtly?
By not doing it, and they're like, "Whoa, what happened to?" Oh my god, they're so good.
Yeah, they're interesting. The interesting thing about subtle is that it's a dangerous game because in Blades in the Dark, if you complete a heist and literally no one finds out about it, you earn no reputation. So you have to leave a trail in order to become known. But at the same time, leaving a trail gives you heat, which is bad reputation, more or less.
I guess what's the breakdown between daring and ambitious?
I think daring is taking on things that are maybe would be considered too hard normally or like too difficult. Ambitious means your long-term goals are like really up there. Like ambitious is like, I'm going to establish myself as a new noble family on the city council.
Oh, I think I like daring more.
Daring is like, I'm going to take down the city council even though I'm a tier 0 nobody.
Yeah, like if we start out robbing a noble, like that's pretty daring.
I'm going to be honest, y'all aren't going to start out robbing nobles because that's too different.
It's too
They're
daring.
dead. They're dead, Sean. They could be dead. We could rob a dead body.
What about a
So-
drunk noble?
A dead noble, because they give no resistance. I don't know. So yeah, I think ambitious, daring does definitely have a place, and subtle.
I also like
What about
savvy.
savvy?
Yeah.
Savvy. So you know your way around, sort of.
Yes,
I
savvy.
like all of them.
Can we have all the words?
Like,
Brutal does not sound appropriate.
No.
I'll be
That's right.
honest. Are y'all honorable and professional?
No.
we could be professional.
Professional, I kind of like. Like you people get you to do the job and you get it done and well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
So
get
that's
it
pretty
done.
nice. No, that's different. Professional like has a certain air of like knowing what you're doing. If you make a mess of it, that's not the same thing.
We're professionals.
I don't know.
So-
I like professional, ambitious, daring, savvy, subtle, honorable. Not honorable.
I like
Okay.
savvy because it's like we know what we're like. We have the knowledge and the tools to do what we do best. Right?
Is that different than professional though?
Yeah, subtly. There's a there's a subtle.
So we're gonna be a subtle gang.
'Cause I think
Who
savvy
knew
is
this was going to be so difficult? You just got to think of the connotation, sort of, and
Yeah.
then like spin it your way. Like, how is your gang professional? How does your gang express that they are savvy versus another gang might do it? They're not necessarily meant to be super discreet. They can overlap, but your gang is going to express it in a unique way.
I sort of like professional or savvy. Like, we get the job done well, and we don't play like games with all these little like blood letters out there. Like, we don't dirty our hands. We just get it done anyway.
We're the elite.
Yeah, I think
Tier 0 elite.
Plus.
I think
VVIP,
professional,
tier
yeah, is a
0.
little more refined than savvy.
Yeah, I feel like I think of savvy as being like, you
A
know, who to
people's
bribe.
man, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You maybe like are a little greasy, but like
little-
you're still good.
Mhm.
let's be professional then.
Okay. So let's go for professional. So you're a professional gang. People go to you. You have a reputation there that you get things done. You get them done well, and you don't ask too many questions. Maybe like you don't need to know all the details. You just need to know your target.
It's like in the transporter where he never opens the trunk.
Yes, exactly. You
We'll
never.
get it done, and we'll get it done well, but we might expand the scope, meaning you have to pay us more as well.
Out of scope tasks don't get.
Yeah, out of scope tasks, we don't do those unless you, like, we'll be
Yeah.
holding a...
You're
a
very
blue-
to the letter almost. Maybe you even have a tendency to write contracts.
Yeah, we're gonna need a budget
Like-
expansion for this. Like,
yeah.
There
Abby,
was
just, like,
unexpected collateral damage that we were not.
let me just
unexpected-
release my inner consultant.
Yeah. I need you to do that, and then also read up on Avernus making deals with devils,
Uh-huh.
and then you can be the deal maker for the deal.
Perfect.
Done.
Don't you have that awesome one where you make a deal and then if it falls through, they become level 3 harm cursed,
I do have that.
which
Yeah.
is pretty
That's
awesome.
pretty cool. Yeah.
It is really cool.
Well, yeah, now that you put it that way, it is pretty cool.
But someone else could take it.
Oh, that's
That
true.
is, it's in your playbook, but anyone can take it, of course. Remember, the playbooks are really just a guideline. All right, so you have a reputation for being professional. Now your lair, you're tier 0, so it doesn't amount to a whole lot. But what are we thinking for that? You need to choose a district for your lair to be based in. And kind of the general look and feel of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think an easy one is the derelict mansion of whatever your character's name is. I've already forgotten because I'm very good at this. The Duchess. I'll just
Duchess.
use your alias instead of your actual name.
Violette.
Ariane. I
Araignée.
can't. Araignée. Very French.
It means spider in French. Because that's my playbook.
You're so
Madame
creative.
Araignée's derelict mansion, I think, makes an interesting, or maybe not the mansion itself, but is there something underneath the mansion, like a cistern or something? Or, I mean, this is where we kind of start getting into the districts of Doskvol. So they all have a different personality to them, and I've pulled the map up in Roll20. So we have sort of the rich and wealthy are located in White Crown at the top. That is the richest of the rich. I believe Brightstone is also very wealthy, and so Charter Hall is kind of in the middle. Six Towers is described as being the kind of rundown leftovers of what used to be a wealthy area of town. So that's why I thought it made sense for most of the characters. Night Market is sort of a just bustling market area, merchant, rich. Coleridge is industrial and poor. Dunslow, right next to it to the left, is the prison as well as the poorest of the poor, and has the fields where food is procured through basically slave labor of the prisoners. Right above that, the Docks, Crowsfoot, and Char Hollow are all also kind of on the poorer side, and have the working class, as well as Crowsfoot is known for being rife with criminal activity, so always a good place to start. And then Silk Shore is kind of the illicit goods and the prostitutes, the pleasure district, one may say. And Barrow Cleft is a bit of a farming, sort of rural-ish community.
Ooh, let's be there.
Being next to, yeah, that doesn't sound right at all. So I think the ones that sound that maybe make sense are Six Towers,
I do like the idea of Six Towers.
Crow's Foot. I mean, I would not say Brightstone or White Crown because those are supposed to be very well maintained. They've got heavy guard duty. This is where the wealthy are safe and protected. Maybe Night Market or Silk Shore?
I like Night Market and Silk Shore, but would Charter Hall be kind of funny if we're like professionals and we run behind like this professional front of like
Oh, maybe you have a front, a business
a
front almost?
well-to-do lawyers. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I think that could be kind of fun. That it's like seemingly very upstanding and like our reputation is upstanding. So we have like an upstanding
You've got an
office.
upstanding facade and an upstanding criminal activity.
That is fun. I like that.
That's pretty fun.
Just an idea. And Charter Hall is pretty central.
Charter Hall is nice because it's central. Do you think that makes sense for everyone? Let's see, what else? Charter Hall is the city's civic offices and the hub for shops, artisans, and commerce.
And that would make sense if we were operating out of the unassuming back room of a merchant.
Right. Is that that's one of the examples given?
Mm-hmm.
You can have an unassuming back room of a merchant's shop, maybe. I'm trying to connect it back to everyone's backstories though. So like more well connected. Like would Madame Ariane? I hate that. Okay, the Duchess. I can't say
Araignée.
I know I can't switch to French that easily. Does the Duchess have merchant connections. It doesn't
I'm
seem like
inclined to
anyone else
say
would.
the
Unless
only
you
thing
worked out of the back of Sarah's character's tavern.
that could work.
We're very upstanding goblins.
Actually, I don't know if we want to work out of a scav shop.
That
but,
might not be good. They're
um,
pretty
We're not loved.
tempestuous. Yeah, it's a bad situation at the moment.
I want to say like
I mean,
we
could
don't
we even
own-
just rent a shop under like a false name? You know, like at the
We have
front.
to remember you're supposed to technically not really have a lot of money.
Somebody owes us. And we kick
What
them
if
out.
it was so on my list of NPCs, I have an architect.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm imagining what if he's like a wealthy, like a home flipper. And so like he's the one who bought all of my family's property. So like I know him, but like I don't own anything anymore. But I go to him and I'm just like, I need a back room to operate a murder hobo or murder cult out of.
And he's just like, yeah.
he's like, that sounds good. Yep, sure. I don't know. I'm trying to tie it into my backstory because it's not like we wouldn't have a mansion to operate, and I don't see my character even having.
I mean,
Could
what does
that-
your estates look like though now? I mean, you used to be wealthy, right?
Are you talking like my family or the one I married into?
Both.
My family definitely doesn't have anything anymore, other than this little locket that I wear.
Because
My husband's estate, I think, is. I think like I technically own it, but it's like I've like gone through and like leased it to like 8 different people. So like if one of them comes for money, I have to go to the next one to get money to pay back the debt of the first one, and then when that one wants money, I have to take the other one. So there's like 12 people that think that they're going to get this property.
right. What was I thinking? Oh gosh, I completely lost my train of thought.
Could getting the office be like the intro recruitment score for us?
It could. I don't think that makes sense because you're supposed to already start with a layer. Is the only thing.
No.
What I will say is, unless your layer has like living space, which is a specific upgrade you have to buy, y'all
Mhm.
all live somewhere else. So you do have a home somewhere where you live and rest, and then you come together. So
We could use Sarah's tavern for now, and then like if we, I mean, we can always like move it later.
right. Yeah. Okay. So, but do we think that tavern is in Charter Hall? Because that's a pretty
I don't know.
That's a
I don't
very
know if
middle
we're-
of the
I don't know if
road.
we're reputable enough to be in Charter
Yeah.
Hall.
especially as a Scovlin. That sounds more like Char Hollow, Crow's Foot, the
I
Dock,
guess okay, maybe it is
maybe
just
Silk
like
Shore.
Okay, what about this? So that architect, what I actually have written down before I made all of the other stuff up, he was my husband's like best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still friendly with him. And so like, what
Okay.
if he has like a nice office in Charter Hall, and for the time being, he's just letting us use the back room, not really knowing what it is, because we do start with hidden
Right,
as
we
a,
do.
so even he doesn't have to know about it, like what
Right.
it's used for. And it's just like a don't ask, don't tell kind of thing. And maybe in the future he'll be like, "Hey, you need to not
Right.
murder people in my shop."
Not prepped to murder people.
Yeah,
It's just Sweeney Todd up in there.
we can eventually put a hagfish farm in our lair to dispose of bodies.
I don't think it's in your layer. You know, that's a little different. That's turf, isn't it? Yeah. I think that's part of turf. Okay. So it seems like we're definitely leaning towards Charter Hall. I like the idea of working out of the back of the architect. Maybe eventually y'all will get your own shop or
I
something.
like Charter Hall. I also like
Six Towers as the option.
yeah.
Six Towers. I like Six Towers. It feels very thematic because it's like fallen nobility. Or not even, I mean, the nobles aren't even there anymore. They basically vacated. Almost all of them have left. So it's just kind of lost. It's also
Mhm.
good. It's noted as having a lot of places people don't go. Like a lot
So
of.
we could just be squatting on like a manor at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you could have found maybe a secret entrance to a building, a part of an estate.
Or like the shed behind an abandoned manor.
Right, exactly. Because I mean, you're supposed to also have like a cache or a treasury almost. I forget what they call it.
Vault.
A vault. There we go. That would be the right word. A vault to store your coin. So it's gotta. I feel like it has to feel like a place someone won't just wander in.
Okay, guys, hear me out. I've been working with chat.
Yeah,
And
I know chat has gone crazy. Thank
What
you.
the heck?
We need the help.
what if we have this abandoned watchtower option in Six Towers, but like there's not any staircase to the top of the tower anymore. Like it's crumbled enough that it's not really accessible, but there used to be an elevator, so we can like get up in the elevator shaft, and then we have like a little room at the top. And then chat suggested zip lines to get down, and that's so cool.
They just zip line across the city.
Yeah. Isn't that
As
neat?
a former
I do like
Corsair, I'm very okay with
It
rigging.
sounds so fun.
I do like the tower idea. Like y'all have to use a pulley system to get
yeah,
up, basically.
I think it's so fun.
Like a weighted pulley system.
It feels very Assassin's Creed, which I'm totally on
Yeah,
board
it's
with.
awesome.
Yeah, actually, you just take eagle dives out of the side of the towers.
We have haystacks perfectly positioned.
Haystacks everywhere. Not haystacks, mushroom piles.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
mustard.
There's limited wheat supply in Doskvol. Yeah, I'm leaning more towards that. Makes more sense to me. And it makes sense to easily expand, like what is the tower connected to, you know, what's in the surrounding area around the tower and stuff.
Yeah,
and we can
add the. I was gonna say we can get cohorts, and like respectable cohorts can be something that we could add.
right
later.
Or the tower doesn't necessarily have to be in the middle of the Six Towers district too. Maybe it's towards the edge, so y'all have easy access to other areas, sort of at a crossroads. Could be by the night market and the edge of Charter Hall, or maybe it's by closer to Brightstone.
Yeah, let's be closer to the night market barge. Party barge.
Let's
No, party barge, no.
bad party barge.
It's a good
Scary,
party
scary.
barge.
Okay, is everyone okay with that? Our watchtower,
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
one
awesome.
of the towers of the Six Towers. Maybe it's not one of the actual Six Towers, but
We call it the seventh tower.
the
Yeah,
seventh
yeah,
tower.
it's a
That's
funny
awesome.
little- Yep, I love it. That's
The seventh tower.
I like
perfect.
it. That's like
Done.
your little code word. Like we meet at
Tower
the seventh
7.
tower.
I like Tower 7 more. Flip the words.
The seventh tower is better.
The
Seventh
seventh tower
tower.
sounds way better. What are you talking about?
Like that's Tower 7.
Let's see. Okay, cool. So we have
Our symbol can be a 7 and a T. It's okay.
Okay, so we have our lair. Now we have to establish hunting grounds. So you're brand new gang and crew basically, and you're small. So you have to choose a small part of a district as your hunting ground. This is where you'll usually do your scores, and it's kind of like becomes second nature for you to prowl around this area. They don't have to be in the same district as your lair, but it starts out very small. It's only 3 or 4 blocks, and it is an intrusion on someone. So there's a gang already in control of this area who you have to then kind of try and stake a claim on. So you can pay off whoever is in charge of this current area with 1 coin. You can pay them 2 coin and you get a bonus to your status with them, or you can keep your coin and you can take -1 status with that faction that controls your hunting ground. So, do we want the hunting ground to be within 6 towers or Charter Hall maybe? You could do Brightstone, which is kind of the, like I said, the nobility, but not the noblest of noble.
What about Night Market?
Night Market?
I feel like night market's the most fun to
As,
start
like,
out with.
Yeah.
Like,
kind
there's
of
a lot
the
of
merchants.
fingers.
Yeah. Okay. So your lair is in 6 towers, but y'all have decided to start your sort of your ambitions in Night Market. I think that sounds nice. I think that makes sense too, because I'm sure lots of nobles do visit Night Market, and they probably, you know, have like maybe mercantile interests or something.
And Night Market has also weird ghosty stuff.
Night Market does also have weird ghosty stuff, as it always does. Let's see. So who's in control of the Night Market? This is a good question. I feel like y'all will be crossing paths with the Hive as your sort of. So, I mean, it depends.
I mean, that makes sense.
It does make sense.
They're so strong, Sean.
Hey,
The Hive is the Illuminati.
they're not the Illuminati. They're just a market group.
They just sell to the Illuminati.
Let's see. Who else could it be? The Hive are really good. I forgot. But
they have an entire fleet of ships, Sean.
who else might make sense that you're paying off to? Could be. This is hard. Let's see. Could be the Blue Coats, but I don't quite like that. Let's see. So the kind of description of the Night Market is: the Night Market is a district dominated by commerce. Situated near Gaddock Rail Station, Night Market receives the bulk of saleable goods from the cargo trains that travel across the Imperium, bringing the exotic and rare to Doskvol. The citizens that call Night Market home constitute a new class of elites, wealthy people who are not of noble descent but nevertheless claim land, status, and power without titles. The district has been taken over by new construction, introducing lavish private townhouses with all the modern advances for the elites that can afford them.
Ooh, what about the Wraiths? They're tier 2, and Silkshore and Night Market are their primary hunting
That's
grounds.
what I was just going to suggest. I think they sound perfect.
Yeah, and they specialize in the theft of luxury items and intelligence gathering for clients to use as blackmail.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That is perfect.
And each of them wears a cool-ass mask to hide their true identity. And they communicate with a private sign language. I love it.
That's cool, yeah.
Now, I just want y'all to join the Wraiths. All right.
We're going to be better than the Wraiths.
Yeah, you'll be the new better Wraiths.
The Banshees will
I
come
can't
at them.
read. I'm sorry, chat. I love you. You're very invested.
What
It's
the
hard
heck?
to run
Oh
the
my
game
God.
and read all these awesome commentaries.
They're so good.
Wait, share.
I need it.
Sarah.
It's beautiful.
Oh gosh.
Everything's beautiful.
I will read it through.
There's a spirit staircase suggestion,
once
and
we're
it's so
finished.
cool.
Oh my gosh, guys.
Is cool. Okay, This sounds like all really good stuff for
You can come back.
making our tower more amazing,
Yeah.
which I am totally game for. I want our
I
tower
will
to be
read all
awesome.
the ideas and I'll tell you them all.
Yeah, Abby's been curating them for us, so that's good. Okay,
Hashtag pimp my tower.
so pimp my tower.
That'll be our next Twitter handle.
Our tag.
Tag, yes, handle, whatever.
Words. So you've established your hunting grounds in Night Market, and you are on the turf of the Wraiths. Are you going to pay them off? Are you going to give them extra money?
Well, professional. I think we pay them off one,
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
but we will not pay them more.
Yeah, we don't need
Okay.
to buy our way to a good word.
Okay, so we've established they're in control of your current hunting grounds. Okay. And so at the moment you are neutral with them.
Yeah.
And
We're not gonna
move
burn
forward.
bridges to start with, though.
Why did you do? Yeah.
Because
No,
I had to get rid of a coin, Sean.
why is that in your faction list?
Because
okay.
it's also our crew mode.
You all have your own crew mode.
Yeah.
You
But
don't
we
need
all
to do
should
it within
share
the
one.
faction list.
Because we all have the same crew, Sean.
Okay, anyways. All right. So the nice thing is you get +1D to gather information and a free additional downtime activity to contribute to any operation that is on your hunting grounds.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
When you
great.
acquire turf, you also expand the size and or type of your hunting grounds. And we can get into that once we actually
Have more turf.
get more turf.
Yeah.
At the moment, all you have is your lair, which is not located on your turf, as we established. Unless we want to move it. Do we want to move it to the Night Market somehow?
No, I like
No,
it being the 7th
I like
tower.
our tower that we're trying to
Yeah.
pimp out.
Mhm.
Okay.
Pimp
All
our
right.
tower.
So you get to choose a special ability.
I'm so excited.
It's pretty much like choosing from the playbooks. And I don't think you get to pick from other crews though. Unlike
I think we should just do synchronized because it sounds so cool.
I mean, synchronized is really cool. But you know what's also cool? Everyone steals.
I mean, I don't like any of those skills. It's not fair because those are all ones you're good at.
everyone
Yeah.
steals is nice. It
Or
is
we could
it's
take
free
Ghost
picks for your
Echoes.
action rating.
Ghost Echoes is fun.
Someone's really pushing the ghosts. The
Yeah.
ghosty ghosts.
I just want to be a cult, guys. Come on.
She just
I
wants
think-
to move into that barge.
Patron does sound fun at a later date.
Yeah.
Slippery.
Patron is just so boring.
It's
Yeah.
boring, but it's useful. You're right. It's no fun for the beginning. Well, I mean, not like everyone steals is that useful for the beginning either. Ghostly echoes and synchronized. I mean, Ghost Echoes is really cool.
That just changes the game so much.
It does.
I
It
feel like
changes your
we need a
focus lot.
narrative incident, though, for Ghostly
Yeah.
Echoes.
Like,
Yeah.
we discover something in the tower that lets us do this.
Yeah, we unlock the ghost powers of the 7th tower, which is a ghost tower.
Okay, so synchronized. So the idea being that you like your group is just the three of you are so in sync. You're so professional, you're so well trained together that you do things when you take actions together, you do them perfectly, as if you
Even
can
though
read
we
each other's
don't
mind.
know each other yet.
We're just on the same wavelength.
Maybe
our-
maybe you're
Our
just
cycles have synced.
We're on the same non-moon cycle.
yeah. The only I think there's just one big moon that's always there. And every now and then there's like ghost shadow moons. Okay.
I mean, I think synchronized is the obvious choice.
I also like second story though.
Yeah.
Ugh,
And
but
that
that's
sounds
what you're good at.
You're literally the skulk.
Abby, second story, we can just zip line into someone's roof from our tower.
Oh,
It
I
does
do
make
want
sense
to
with
zip
the tower,
line.
which is pretty funny. You zipline all the way over to the night market.
It's next door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think synchronized will be both useful and is kind of interesting.
How does that like play out though?
So a group action, Sean talked about this earlier, but like if we want to sneak and you and I, Sarah, are just have 0 in lurk, but Abby's really good at lurk. Actually, she doesn't even have to be really good at lurk, but somebody leads us prowling or something like that. And so everybody rolls, and the highest is what, like the highest out of all of our rolls is what counts. So synchronized would say if I roll a 6 and you roll a 6, it's a critical. We count both as a critical. But
Right.
the downside to a group action is if we all do like prowl and Abby rolls a 5 and then you 1, since we failed, Abby takes stress for trying to cover us failing with her like
Right.
leading expertise.
So basically, it makes it easier to get a critical on group actions, which is useful if luck based.
And I like it because I feel like it would get us to use the teamwork mechanics more, because I feel like you can play entirely without them, but if we have synchronized, then we would want to do them anyway.
Yeah, and
Uh,
their skill sets are varied enough that it makes sense for
yeah,
like one
I think
person to take the lead.
yeah. I feel like that one's probably the most fun too. I mean, I'll be honest, the shadows unfortunately don't have the best.
We can
abilities,
take
I feel
veteran.
like.
We can take a veteran. Heal
You
somebody else.
can for
Yeah, if you look on Roll20, there it's right there.
It has like 2 dots though on mine.
Huh?
maybe there is a limit to 2, but I think now I'm gonna have to read the rules to try and remember. Crew creation summary. Choose a special ability. Can't decide. No, that's not what I want. Choose a special ability. It really doesn't say anything if you can veteran a special ability, it looks.
I remember reading it. It's just like somewhere hidden in
Must be
like
hiding.
a one sentence line somewhere where you wouldn't expect it.
Well, I don't know if there's any other off the top of my head.
We can be bound in darkness, Sean.
Bound in Darkness. That is fun. Where's that?
We use teamwork maneuvers with our cult members.
Oh, well, we're not a cult yet. We're working on it.
Not
Abby's
yet.
working on it.
I'm working on it.
Abby's working on turning us into a cult, but
Have you
We
heard
could
the
take-
good word of he who walks in darkness?
Abby, could I interest you in sealed in blood? Each
Ooh.
human sacrifice yields -3 cost for any ritual we perform.
Ooh, I'm down. You have to kill them though.
That is true.
the Hawkers might have some good ones.
I think we should at least start in shadows.
Yeah. Okay.
I like that line. They started in shadows.
Or we
Slippery
could
is
take-
also really good.
The only other one that I really like is in Assassins. It's no trace, and if you do something without leaving signature, instead of 0 rep, you get half of it.
That actually could be really cool from the professional perspective. Oh, and when you end downtime with 0 heat, take +1 rep. That's going to be difficult. I think you rack up heat.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
just
that's
a-
like an afterthought, but the main one is like you get half rep value.
If you keep an operation quiet or make it look like an accident.
But that one might
Logan,
be...
you're forgetting about my big reveal.
You're right. But you can reveal it to them and then we kill
Okay, good.
They're revealed and they're shocked, but
I
they're
don't know
also
if
dead.
killing keeps it quiet necessarily.
Well, Sean, we can just take Crow's Veil from Assassins as well, and we
Okay,
don't
so now we're becoming assassins, which I don't think we wanted. I mean, that was one of the other options, was assassins.
They were all options except for Bravos, I think.
Smuggler didn't really make sense.
I think we should just do synchronized, and if we hate it, we can change it.
Yeah, I'm willing to be flexible. Okay, let's try. We'll stick with synchronized for now.
Okay. Before
then
we just become a cult of assassins. Before
we
this
can
is
see
over.
how well
Then
y'all
we
are doing, and then we
really-
can take maybe the assassin. No traces is really good. Okay. All right, so assign crew upgrades. So each crew type has 2 pre-selected upgrades that suit that crew. So your starting upgrades are training and prowess, and your layer is automatically hidden, which both of those are pretty good.
Yeah.
So that means your layer can't just be found randomly, which is also very useful. And where do they have the list of all the
Page
things?
95.
95? Oh yeah, crew upgrades. Here we go. So hidden layer, your layer is secret. If your layer is discovered, you have to do some stuff to redisguise it. But should make it difficult to find at the very least, which will give y'all extra protection. Training. Training is nice. So basically, if you take the downtime action that involves training and you do it for prowess, you get extra XP. So all of y'all can become better at the prowess stuff much faster, which is unfortunate because I think all of you wanted to be talkers. Except for Abby.
No, I'm a sneaker.
Except for Abby, who's a sneaker. So, but all of you will be able to get much better at sneaking much faster, should you so choose. As well as I think finesse is under prowess, so that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so we automatically get training in prowess. Hunting grounds, you need to choose a favored, you get 2 additional upgrades for your crew. So we got the freebies, and you can choose these upgrades from the general or the specific crew upgrades. But each upgrade impacts 2, or not each, but your 2 upgrades impact 2 factions. So one faction helped you get an upgrade, and one was screwed over when you got an upgrade.
Oh my goodness. We can get a carriage and 2 goats.
I think
We
that's
can
a
also use
bad
them
idea.
to make a cohort. Cost 2 upgrades.
I mean, that is, yeah.
But guys, I'm good at boats.
We could get a boat. And thief rigging sounds pretty cool.
Thief rigging is, I mean, any of the rigging stuff is good.
Where are the special? Are there ones under shadows?
Shadow
Yeah.
upgrades, it's right on the very first page of shadows.
Or if you open our shared character sheet, they're all right there.
They're all listed, yes.
No, I found it.
Okay.
Crew upgrades. Oh, the steady one. Each PC gets +1 stress box, which is very good, but it costs 3 upgrades to unlock. Whew.
Yeah.
So you're not getting that. You can make your rooks better or your skulks better, which are cohorts that you can have. I would rather not start with a cohort. They're
Yeah,
a little
that just sounds-
complicated.
Yeah.
Also, remember it says you're supposed to, well, I guess you could combine them, but. So, thief rigging is just really useful. Underground maps and passkeys kind of make sense though. Y'all are in the tower. Maybe you've got an underground passage to the night market, or like through your architect friend, partially. Logan, y'all learned about some special passageways.
We can also upgrade the quality of stuff, which is good. It would, like, if we really want good
Right.
gear versus implements versus supplies versus tools.
Yeah, I mean, quality is not a bad idea because y'all seem to be interested in people.
We could
They're
also
pretty
have quarters so that
high
we
level.
don't have to sleep outside. Or is that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
So
there,
quarters
yeah.
gives you a living space in your lair, which is good because your lair's also hidden. So you automatically have a very safe place to to live, more or less.
We could
Um,
also get training insight, Sarah, if we want to also have training in talkie stuff.
Talkie stuff's in resolve.
I meant resolve.
Yeah.
talkie stuff's in resolve.
Hmm.
Well, you will get more, so don't worry too much about making the ultimate choice. Just which do you think would be fun or interesting to start with? Training, I'm less interested in. I think
I feel
quality
like
could make sense.
quality, the underground passages, or thieves' rigging sounds. I mean, I don't know how much stuff we actually have at this moment in time, but
Thieves' rigging
I
is
could
just
carry more
generally
props,
useful.
guys.
I
More
do
load
like
is always
I do
useful.
like thief rigging, and I do like underground maps and passkeys. Like, really just get those shadow upgrades out of the way.
And then start doing the regular ones, the boring ones. um. Okay.
Well,
I mean, I think that's fair. They're the two top ones under shadows, which means they're probably recommended.
We could also get locks for our lair. That's an upgrade we have to
Make
buy.
it secure. You do always want to be more secure.
But we are hidden, so it's like, do we really need to double
You're
down?
already hidden, but you can be found. So depends how quickly you plan on pissing people off. I would definitely say underground maps and passkeys feels like a must. That feels really,
And I also
really
sort
good
of
and
like the
appropriate.
idea of having a boat, and like Sarah boats us around.
I do kind of like that. I mean, the idea is Doskvol has a lot of canals and stuff everywhere, so a boat, not terrible.
I'd
Not
like
terrible.
that.
I'm really selling that one.
Swan dive into boat.
Or it's like the towers on the edge of like a canal, and like
A
the
canal.
boat is in like a little tunnel under it.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I
And
really
then
like
you
that.
have
Oh,
special.
that's really cool. Yeah.
So y'all like specially navigate sort of waterways to get where you're going, like the hidden waterways of the
Oh,
city.
we could be like the water witches. We're coming for you.
We're coming with you. Okay, I'm
La
digging this.
Llorona.
Sea hags.
The stacked. Oh God. Okay, so you have underground
Canal
maps
hacks.
and pass keys
Oh.
and a boathouse. Can you mark those on your thing, Logan?
I did.
Yeah, you're the best. Okay, now I get to choose who you make friends with and who you piss off.
Oh god.
So I think a fun one for making angry is the gondoliers. So there's a group of people who are the master kind of boat people, the master gondoliers of the city, and they are their own faction. And I think maybe Sarah's character doesn't have a lot of money, so maybe she tricked someone into getting one, or she stole one.
Oh, I love it.
So
And I just like drag race gondoliers.
maybe. I mean, you're a proficient with ships apparently. So whatever reason, the gondoliers are mad at you.
Love
Look
it.
at this. Notable assets: a fleet of gondolas and other watercraft.
A fleet -1.
Turf. Yeah, and their turf is all the canals of Doskvol. Okay, yeah. So I think they're definitely the ones I'm going to make mad at you. So you can spend 1 coin to mollify them, and instead of taking a -2 status with them, you take a -1. Of note here, if you get to -3 with them, you are at war, which is bad.
I would like to be at war with the gondoliers.
No. You really don't.
It cuts
gonna
how
be
much you
very
can do during
honest.
downtime in half.
Oh.
It's very, very bad. So they are mad at you because Sarah stole a boat.
I just imagine me in a different gondolier disguise every time I use it.
So here's y'all have 1 coin left. So you'll also get a faction that likes you, and if you pay a coin to the one that likes you, then you can get +2 status. So you can either be
Who likes
more
us?
in
Do
good
we
with
get to
someone
know
or
that?
less in bad.
Yeah, let's decide the one who likes us, and then we can decide if we want -2 or +2.
Okay, let me figure out who likes you. So someone gave you underground maps and passkeys because they knew it would help them in the end, maybe. To help get around. So who would do that, though?
Ooh. I'm
Maybe
thinking...
I mean, it could be the Wraiths themselves. But that doesn't make much sense because you're kind of getting on their turf. So I don't think they'd really want to help you. Coleridge, I'm trying to look at all the...
Would there be
church,
someone?
The Church of the Ecstasy of the Flesh.
No.
He who walks in darkness.
The
Who
Hive?
are the Wraith's enemies? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the Wraith's enemies
Yeah.
are the Blue Coats, the Inspectors, and the Hive.
Ooh, maybe it's the Hive then. Maybe the Hive wants you to upset the Wraiths. They see this upstart gang and they're like, we can use them to weaken the hold of the Wraiths.
Okay.
I like that. I'm trying to see if there's a couple other factions that aren't listed in the big ones. The Circle of Flame, which just always sounds fun.
They're a secret society.
They are a secret society.
They're the Illuminati.
Oh, the Foundation, the powerful ancient order of architects and builders. That would make sense.
Why would they give us maps, though?
Because they would be the ones who would have them in the first place.
You're not wrong.
And if we say we got it from your architect friend, maybe he's a member.
Logan, not to distract you, but chat would like to see cabbage.
Okay.
Cabbage of note
He's a big
is
boy.
larger than a single cabbage.
Cabbage is our
couple cabbages.
benefactor. Cabbage is the one who decided to support us.
Oh, he's so cute.
I love Cabbage so much. He's got the droopers.
He also has a lot of energy.
Yeah.
He's very happy now.
He does love the attention. Okay, I think the Hive makes sense.
I like that.
I'm going to go with the Hive. So the Hive have given you special information relating to the city and especially the night market in the hopes that you'll upset the Wraiths, who I think are... Yeah. The Wraiths are notable for their... Oh, they also have a fun little lair. And a scattered collection of secret rooftop shelters. So instead of going through the roofs, y'all are going through the underground to hopefully disrupt the Wraiths. The anti-roofs.
The
floor. Okay, so you can either get in good with the Hive.
Definitely, they're level 4.
Okay, so the gondoliers really don't like you, though.
That's fine. We have a fleet of
One
Yeah.
boat.
transport ships on our side.
So the gondoliers are -2, and then you're going to pay the money to the hive in order to get
+2.
+2
Yeah.
with them. So they will help you a fair deal, but they'll help in return. Should it come down to it.
And are we at 0 with the wraiths, or
Yeah.
are we at -1?
You are at 0 with the
Because
rate
we paid them
Okay,
off.
because we paid
because
them.
you paid them off. They currently think you are beneath their notice. They don't
Perfect.
realize that the hive has taken an interest in you in the hopes that you will become a greater problem for everyone in the end.
Is the hive on this list?
No. Oh, yes, they are. They're at the very top, second to the top of the underworld.
Ah, okay, there we go. Oh boy, they'll never see us coming.
Okay. Paid off. Ooh, spelled that wrong. Paid off and hoping you will disrupt. These upstarts will disrupt the rates, who have become a bit too big for their britches, maybe. Okay. So back to our crew. Now that we've dived into all the factions real quick. Okay, so you'll have all your upgrades. Now choose a favorite contact. There should be a list of potential contacts on the sheet.
Yes. There is Dowler, an explorer. LaRose, a blue coat. Amasio, a deal broker. Fitz, a collector. Adeline Froag, a noble. And Rigney, a taverner.
And of note here, these will also affect factions. So one
Mhm.
faction
God.
is friendly with the contact, and you get +1 status with that faction, and one faction is unfriendly with this contact, and you get -1 with them. So I'll be the judge of that too. So who do you think makes sense as a
I feel like Amasio, like maybe he's
I
our front
agree.
man.
Yeah, I feel like we need a fence.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like they go to Amancio first, and then Amancio comes back to you and is like, I got this job for y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's a deal broker.
I feel like he doesn't work just for us though. Like
Mm-hmm.
people go to him and then he goes to who he thinks can get the job done.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So he's sort of like a gatherer of.
Yeah. So we have
Of-
to stay on his good side so he sends us.
So he sends you business, basically.
Yeah,
Almost.
at
Okay.
least in the beginning.
Right. Well, let's see. I think an easy one for that might be either the inspectors or the bluecoats don't like him because he's facilitating all of these kind of dirty deals. Trying to think if there's anyone else who stands out.
The difference between the inspectors is that they're not corrupt and the bluecoats are, right?
Yes.
That's the main difference.
Yes, pretty much. Bluecoats are basically a gang that has legal backing, and the inspectors are infamous for their neutrality, and they are the ones who kind of gather cases up to then be decided by the judges.
I think the inspectors
magistrate.
makes more sense then, because do the bluecoats even care about crime?
I don't know. They're just like the biggest gang.
They
Yeah.
do. I mean, they are. They're maybe interested in keeping the peace to some extent. They're interested in keeping the status quo.
Yeah.
The inspectors. The only thing I'm worried with the inspectors is they're maybe a little boring.
Yeah.
They're not quite as fun. It's under his little kind of thing. It says perhaps a well-connected underworld figure, famous for their neutrality. But what if he's not so neutral?
What if the Dimmer sisters hate him because they used to work together and then like they had a falling out or whatever? And so they don't like that we're working with him.
Yeah, they don't like anyone who gets.
I just really like the idea of the dimmer system.
The dimmer sisters are pretty fun. Let's see. You just make the gondoliers go straight to war with you.
No.
You start at war. Good luck.
Or I thought that maybe he might be a Scav refugee or something like that. So like he's just doing really well for himself or something like that. So the Scav refugees like us. And then I don't know who doesn't like the Scav refugees.
Everyone else.
Everyone else.
What if Dimmer Sisters isn't a bad idea? Wardens.
Or it could just be like one of these other
Just one of
rando.
these. Yeah, other random.
Like they don't dislike Amancio, but they don't like that we're also working with Amancio.
Yeah, that you're starting to take jobs.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. Who else is in? Is there anyone else in Night Market other than the Wraiths? That's what I'm trying to. That's the other thing. Blue coats are everywhere, of course. City council is not going to be right. Crows are in the crows, but or whatever it is.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man.
Do institutions count?
The Grey Cloaks are in 6 Tower.
They are. They are in 6 Towers.
I don't really like them though.
Just give us a +1 with the Dimmer Sisters.
I do.
Plus
no,
one with the Dimmer
-1.
Sisters?
No, give
Logan
us a
was
+1.
going for -1.
I want to be their enemy.
Oh, okay.
Or Lord Skurlock could not like that.
Ooh,
we're
I
working
do
with
like
Amancio.
Lord Skurlock.
Spirit Wardens. Ooh.
And I feel like that one. I feel like this part is minor enough. Like if you just pick like a random one that doesn't like that we're stealing work from them, or like that can just be decided in the interim.
Yeah,
unless we have like a good idea to tie something.
I might just think on it a bit. And decide at a later date.
Okay.
But we want Amancio to be. I think it's important to flesh him out. We want him to be like a sort of jobs gatherer almost, or like.
Yeah, he's like the front man for a bunch of different people.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, the temp agency person that you go
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
And like he finds you and is like, hey, like I want to start sending work your way.
He's our business development person.
Yeah.
But it's not. I feel like it's not like a very regular thing. It's just like when Amancio gives you a deal, you know it's going to be good, so you better do it well.
Yeah.
But like
So
most of our
he's-
jobs, we find on our.
Yeah.
People go to Amancio because he knows he'll pass it off to someone who will get it done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Receives jobs and hands them out.
And maybe he's like also really good at like if we need a deal brokered between us and somebody else, like we can go. He also like will negotiate between two parties.
He's
Like,
kind of
he's
like a
just-
good go-between man for negotiating things. As like a third-party negotiator.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's like whichever side pays him better gets the.
Ends up doing a little better in the negotiations, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. He seems interesting. Oh gosh, cohorts and all that stuff. That's complicated. We'll worry about that later.
That's our crew, right? That's all we have?
That's it. Yeah. And I
Cool.
think that finishes off the crew.
Don't we pick a favorite hunting grounds?
Oh, you're correct. We have to pick
From this little list of 4 of them.
You have to pick.
What are
Yeah,
they?
which of your
Favorite operation type?
operations within the hunting grounds? Which do you
Burglary.
prefer?
So burglary is theft by breaking and entering. Espionage is obtain secret information by covert or clandestine means. Robbery is theft by force or threats. And then sabotage is hurt an opponent by destroying something. I am feeling espionage
Espionage.
or burglary.
Yeah, I like all three except for robbery.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, information broker. You basically become
I think espionage.
as your favorite operation.
Yeah. I mean, because we can do other ones, but that one's
Yeah,
just our favorite.
you can do anything. You could start assassinating people since we want to become assassins, apparently.
I don't think we
need-
can though, Sean, is the problem.
I mean, you can try.
We don't kill them on site. We kidnap them and then sacrifice them to a forgotten god.
Oh gosh.
Sacrifice their
Everyone's
ghost.
getting in on this sacrifice thing.
Sacrifice their
Yeah.
ghost. Fine distinction.
Abby's just really starting to get second spirit wardens.
Well, luckily, this game pretty much, I mean, it doesn't force you, but it's very easy to flip into a different character if you like. So feel free to have a backup whisper or something else of your choosing. Yeah, I would recommend. We've made kind of the main characters we'll be exploring, but it is quite possible that it'll come up you'll need to play a different character. So maybe have a secondary character in the back of your mind or the forefront
One of the two.
to come back to.
Also, what's our name, Sean?
What's our name gonna be, guys? Have we decided? Did we spend like 30 minutes in group chat trying to figure out what it was gonna be ahead of time? Maybe.
Sarah
Maybe.
came up with it. It's great.
Sarah wants credit for coming up with the winner, the lucky winner of the gang name.
There were a lot of good options too.
There
so.
were a lot of
There
good ones.
were.
Let's see. Good runner-ups were Glimmer,
Coven.
Coven.
Also, Abby said Sea Hag is a joke, but I also
Sea Hag's pretty fun as a joke. I said Snitches Get Stitches, which also was a good joke.
We said
But-
so many.
there was a big list of them. yeah.
Sarah, will you present the winner since you were
The
one who came up with it.
Foxfires.
the gang, the newest gang in Doskvol, the Foxfires.
They're gonna lead you down the path.
These foxy ladies will set you on fire.
we're foxy and we'll set you on fire.
If we
You're
don't
gonna
like
get
you,
lost.
we'll set you on fire.
And maybe we're all-
Professionally.
We're also a light up mushroom. We don't know.
Professionally. Yes. Also bioluminescent mushrooms, which is very on brand for
Really
Duskfall.
cool, yeah.
So that works
Does our
out very
tower
well.
have bioluminescent mushrooms?
It better.
It can now.
It's actually just one big mushroom.
We've just
Giant.
hollowed out the inside.
Not very secret when it's the only giant glowing mushroom in town, but
The game says you're contractually obligated to believe it's hidden, so
within the mushroom it is hidden. No one's expecting a layer in the middle of the giant mushroom.
until Sarah rips the disguise off the mushroom and it's actually a second mushroom.
A second smaller mushroom underneath. Okay, well, that sounds like most of everything we need to do. I'll go back through to make sure we didn't miss anything crazy. And not next week, but 2 weeks from now, which I believe is literally right before Thanksgiving, I think everyone's still game to play unless some changes happen.
Yeah.
We're
Sean,
always flexible.
I want to play this game right now.
I really want to play. Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so glad. I love setting up games because it just makes you so excited to play. I'll do a little GM stuff to figure out what our starting situation is going to be and maybe what the starting score will be. And hopefully we'll pretty much jump right in next session with a score right away. And then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the mechanics. We'll get to learn about the kind of flow of play and everything. And Sean will hopefully not fail miserably as a GM.
You'll be great.
No promises.
If I can do Burning Wheel, you can do Blades in the Dark.
True, Burning Wheel's intimidating too, but I'm excited. All right.
It's gonna be awesome.
Did anyone else want to cover anything or have any final words?
We have next week. We have Dawn of Worlds.
We have the final.
Final.
Don't call
Probably.
anything a finale on
Don't.
this show,
Yeah.
okay?
You know better.
We are playing part 4 of a undeterminate number of parts from Dawn of Worlds. And if you're also interested, you can rewind and watch all of our Burning Wheel because it is fun. And
it's a fun.
It's
done.
fun.
It's
It's
just one
finished,
fun.
and it's a fun. You will have one singular fun, but it will last the entire adventure. So
and when
it's
you
worth
get
it.
to the finale, don't stay up late to watch it because it'll take you 4 more episodes. So just
No,
start a new day.
I have the one that's the finale labeled finale, I think. So
So when we say finale, it's just a teaser for
yes.
3 episodes from then when it's the actual finale.
All right. Okay. We've plugged everything. Good. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. Follow our Twitter if you want to keep track.
We're
That's
at
where
Systems to Go RPG. So
Yes. We post things on YouTube as well if you want easier viewing for your viewing pleasure.
I'll post pictures of my dog from now on.
Tell us how to pimp our tower.
Give us advice on pimping our tower.
Chat's been
upsetting
telling us how to
factions.
pimp our tower.
I'm gonna read literally every
excited.
single one of these responses.
Oh, it's so
I just
good.
need to not have to run something at the same time. Which thank you, Abby, for managing chat for
No
us.
problem.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us. Y'all are the ones to make it so much extra fun. And we look forward to seeing y'all in the next couple of weeks.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.